It was going to traders going 2 for 2 today. Pretty nice day overall at the end. Could have been a little bit worse. Not a little bit worse, could have been a lot worse, which we'll get into here as we go over our trades, jumping right into it as always. NVTS, this one was a pretty good move. As you can see, previous resistance all the way down here towards 6. As we zoom in here, you'll see it made a pretty nice move all the way up through 6. Was really hoping for this move here to get up through 650, but as you can see, it kind of ended at 647. Actually hit this on the way down at 641. That pretty much ended up being the bottom. I got the 638 and it decided to go higher. So again, looking for 670s for an add to get our average up over 650 quite a bit. Unfortunately, that didn't want to happen either. Got the 668 and started to feel like it was going to fail. Ended up hitting this at 664. You can see we actually got a slew of fills here, 664, 663, all the way down to 661. So keep that in mind when marketing in, because that was only 200 shares and we got that much of a spread there on our fills. Again, though, as you can see, it got down to 54. Our average was actually at 52 now. And it decided to bounce again. So went up. Now I'm looking for through 7 for the last add, because this was a 1-1, just looking for that 1-1-2 with the new risk parameters. And once I hit that 2, I'm looking to make at least half of what I was risking. So goes up 689, really starts to struggle, can't get through 690, end up hitting it on the way down for our 2, get a full fill there, 400 shares at 680. That brought our average to 66. So it was 666. I hit the 0.5R button and it puts it right at 654. So I have 800 shares out at 654, comes down. It ends up filling us on a flush, 475 out of the 800 shares. Had we got that fill, it would have been a full fill. It would have been around $88, would have been the amount. So it means at the top with 800 shares, had it went high of day, we would have been risking $176. However, we get that fill and then it pops right back up. Goes all the way back up here to 680s, putting us in the red. Keep in mind, we still have 325 shares. So at the highs of these candles, we were giving back around $30 to $40. Pretty much what we made. So we had realized, I think it was $55 on this cover. It comes back down. It was a little spready as well. So every time it was at 59, the ask was usually around like 63, 64, something like that, which our average was at 66. So it was hard to take any more off because of it. So I left my order out this entire time. When it went through, I highly debated on just cutting the rest here and taking the smaller winner. I was actually more so mad at myself when this first happened, because I think the ask was actually at like 60 or 61 for a little while. I think the bid was at 58 and I could have just dragged my order up, took the rest, and I think it would have ended up being like a $65, $70 winner overall, but I would have never been in the situation that I ended up in. So this ends up coming up, going through here, that 677 area. And I basically had told myself that wanted to use high of day as a stop. So I added these shares, 325 of them back, with the intention of, if it did go through the highs, I was going to cut those off. And that's exactly what I ended up doing. Went through the highs. We got filled at 695. It went to 696, which ended up being the highs. The high of this candle was, what was it? 690. It was, 690. So I tried to hit it when I saw 690 and I got the slippage there. Pretty good amount, actually, 5-cent slippage. Realized it was a bit of a fake out. I add those shares back, looking for it to break down. It comes down to 677, starts to curl using that previous resistance area there as support. And at this point, I had 600 shares. I think I leveled it off. I'm pretty sure. Or no, I think it was the 650. And then I added 350 here as it was making its move up. And I said, if it goes through highs, it's probably going to try up through 7. I'm just going to cut the whole position. So I went from a possible $88 winner, had we got the full fill here, to possibly giving back all of that plus losing around $200. So that would have been an almost $300 swing, all because I didn't get that full fill there and I decided to fight it the way that I did. So I was pretty upset with myself. If you were watching it live, you could hear me talking to myself about how I kind of messed this up, etc. But I was committed to the trade at this point. I basically said I'm going to add here as close to the highs as I can, and I'm just going to use high of day as a stop. And if it happens, it happens. We get the add here, bringing us to 1,000 shares total. I then actually hit my 0.5 R button, and I don't think that this actually worked correctly because of the cover. I don't really know. It probably did work. It just wasn't taking into account the shares that I had taken off over here, et cetera, and up here. It was only taking into account the current position. So I had 1,000 shares at, I think my average was now 680. It was somewhere up here, but I don't remember exactly. It might have been 680 or 681, something like that. I think it was only taking into account what that 1,000 shares too high of day was, right? It was calculating that as my current risk, and it was giving me that based off of that. So I put out 900 of the 1,000 shares here, and then I split the last 50. Just looking to see if we could get a bigger move down, and it did give us quite a bigger move down. So I was a little sad that I didn't try to hold on to them a little bit longer, especially these. Probably should have been covering these into this dip. I just knew that NVTS was on earnings, and I knew it probably had a good chance of holding up. So I kind of just was being a little more cautious with it, especially after the ride I just went on. But I did keep 50 shares in case it wanted to keep coming down. So it did come down. It made this low here, 635, kind of went sideways, tried to go higher, came down, and it made this dip again. And it didn't seem like it wanted to get down and retest that 635 area. So I figured there was some buyers in here. This was about half the overall move. And it just felt like it might try to just go sideways here and then possibly try to grind higher because it was on earnings. So once I felt like it was trying to go back up, I took it off at 645. And as you can see, this thing actually ended up going all the way down to 6. So a little frustrated there. Probably would have taken it off in this general area once it first candle to kind of make a new high type thing. But it is what it is. It was only 50 shares. It would have been like another 10, $15, but it's not going to make or break us. But how we played this overall, I was actually after what I consider the mess up of not just taking the rest off here. I think we played it considerably well. I think we managed the position well. I think we added with a plan when we did, and I think we ended up coming out okay with it. Right? We still made $85. The original amount was 88. We definitely paid more in commissions the way that we traded it, but it worked out. So there is that. Second trade was on AVDL. This one was pretty standard. Pretty nice area off the daily right there. If you just look a little bit left. So I had that drawn before we even got into the position. Made a nice little move. Felt like it was kind of jiggling there. So we took it off 972. And it did try to pull back a little bit there. Got the 961, was obviously looking for the 950 retest. And then it decided to make a little bit of a run right up to the area. So we actually put an order out at 995 and we got filled and ended up being high of the day. So we ended up top ticking that ad, put most of it out down here at 971 for 150 of the shares, and then just took the other 50 down here as it actually did try to pop back up, but then came back down. So took those off once it felt like it was done, which was right around 950. I actually believe we had that order out at 958. So I didn't take them off because of the price action. I just had the order out and it got filled. This did come down and retest that previous resistance, which that seems to be working a lot lately. So we might have to take that into account. Moving forward here, trying to hold on to some shares, looking for that previous resistance. I feel like every time I try to do that, it always ends up going back to the highs or stopping us out, at break even or whatever. But I'm starting to see that a lot lately on my recent charts. So might be something to look into moving forward. That's all I got. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. You can always find me at Discord or on Twitter as well. Those links are in the description. Some nice, exciting stuff coming up. I might be making some extra videos over the weekend. I'm not sure when I'll be posting them. On the scanner side of things, on the personal side of things, trading side of things, etc. There's some good stuff happening. I'm excited for the month of March, and let's try to finish February strong. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, and I'll see you Monday. Peace.